Hi Pisces, I hope that you're all doing well. This is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. But even if you're not a Pisces and you're listening to the message, thank you for being here and hopefully it brings you something useful. This is something new that I'm trying, a little reading about being on our enchanted map journey in life, in addition to dealing with our shadow self and integrating it. Okay? So, for those of you that aren't into learning more about yourself or your roadblocks, then this is definitely not the message or the reading for you. But for those of you who are interested, please stay on board. Okay, with the video. So, the first card that came out was commitment. And instantly I got this feeling of, what are you committing to? Who are you committing to? And why are you committing to them? Important questions. And the shadow aspect of this is the addicted card. And the 1-1 has me questioning if some of us are addicted to being in relationships because for some reason we may think that that brings us strength. But the shadow piece that we don't really look at is, in a sense, we put ourselves in these commitments and relationships because it kind of brings us a sense of safety, doesn't it? When we're in a relationship, it allows us to put blame on others when things don't go right. It allows us to depend on others to look after us, and then when they don't, we can be upset about it. But what Spirit is saying is that some of us, not all, just some of us, whoever this message resonates for, if you find that you have, especially with all of these spikes in this individual's back, if there's been a lot of problems in your relationships, or if perchance you feel that you're consistently hurt by it, you have to ask yourself why you are addicted to it. Are you addicted to the pain? And it's funny because none of us ever think in our lives, oh my goodness, I'm addicted to pain. But if pain is what we grew up with, then that's all we know, and therefore it becomes the normal. But then we have to reconcile different parts within ourselves. And the reconciliation comes with, as we grow up, we start to learn what is healthy and what isn't. We start to find our own truths. And they clash with what we've been taught. Grow up, get married, find somebody, and we cling to them. We cling to them no matter how much it hurts. So Spirit is asking some of you, if you are in some not great relationships, that could be love, or if you don't have loving relationships with some members of your family, whatever be the case, ask yourself why you're addicted to staying. What is it in this shadow that it is actually bringing to you that you would stay? Once you realize that, then you'll be able to look at why you stuck around. For example, staying in an abusive marriage. You stay because you don't want to be labeled. You don't want people to think less of you, that you weren't strong enough to make a marriage work, so you stay. Some of you stay because you've got that status, you've done what society has expected of you, which is, oh, I've gotten into a relationship, into a marriage, whatever be the case, so I'm good, even though it's painful. So that's where addiction comes from. We continue to put ourselves in bad cycles because we believe, there's some belief that we hold on to that is contradictory to what our truth is. So even though our shadow self isn't happy and it's saying, look, I'm hurt here, this isn't okay, our commitment to our belief systems that has been bestowed upon us by society and generations before us keeps us stuck. So then what do? We try to numb ourselves. We numb ourselves to the reality that we are committing ourselves to pain. Interestingly, the next card is follow the leader. Isn't that the truth? So all of those before us, we have followed the examples that they have set for us. And then look at the shadow aspect, fated to suffer. Some of us hold the belief that in order to be accepted by the leaders, by other people, by family, friends, whatever, some of us have this belief system that we need to do what everyone else does in order to measure up in some way, shape, or form. And we subscribe to the belief that we are fated to suffer. This is part of it. But if we take a look at the real piece of it and we face that part of ourselves that we haven't wanted to look at, for some of us, we start to learn by looking at the details, because details. We start to learn that what works for some people may not work for everybody. Today for tomorrow. You're giving up your happiness in the now for tomorrow. And what is tomorrow? Guaranteeing you that you still live within the labels and confines of whatever it is that you're trying to present to the world to make you feel accepted. The big piece in this would be to ask yourself, what would happen if you left an unhappy marriage or relationship? What would happen if you left it? Would this mean that you're horrible? Or would it mean that you get to take responsibility for yourself and you become your own leader? Then there's no more pain. There's nothing left to blame when it's not going right. You'd therefore be responsible for yourself and your own happiness. So this card also speaks to being the leader means following your own integrity and truth. But in order to do that, you've got to get past the addiction of approval, validation, whatever it is that's keeping you committed to something that is no longer serving you or not good for you. Now, I understand that this is going to be controversial. It's going to be controversial in the fact that a lot of people don't do the shadow self work. And the reason why is because it's easier to follow the leader and to just remain fated to suffer, to give up our todays for tomorrow and ignore the details. But for those of you that are willing to grow and evolve, you start to realize that you're the leader. You're the leader in your life. What would happen if you didn't accept the poisonous apple? What would happen if you made choices that were based on your own happiness? But that would mean that you also have to face and reconcile that piece inside you that, hey, maybe I have been ignoring my pain. I have been ignoring myself. And then that gives you that opportunity to get to know yourself, your wants, your needs, and desires. And then it will lead you to your own path where you are now the creator and the details come from you. These are just messages, so do with it what you will. It doesn't mean that I'm right and it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. They're simply messages. They're simply information that has come out of the cards, and you can choose to do what you will with it. But if you get into your shadow self because you are stuck in a certain thought process, that's a choice that you make. And please do not leave nasty comments on my channel, and do not hit the thumbs down because you don't agree with it. We know not everybody is going to agree with it, so there's no need to be nasty about it. This is just simple insight into the psyche, and you're welcome to do as you choose with it. And hopefully it helps some of you start respecting what the pain inside is trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you something is not serving you anymore, and it's time to look at it so that you stop giving up your happiness in today just so that tomorrow's secured. Now, this could also speak to your commitment of if you look at a job situation. Are some of you committing yourself to a job because it's bringing you status and a label? I've fallen into this category a few times. Then I realized I was addicted to the validation. I wanted to be my own leader. I want to be able to work for myself, because what I also found was all of the pain that continued that I had to put up with in these jobs. The belittling, the clashing in personalities, the contradictions, the not being appreciated for the value that you bring. So it came to a point where I had to face my shadow self. Am I fated to suffer? Or am I choosing this? Am I choosing that apple? Then I realized, yeah, I am choosing this apple. Why? Because I'm addicted to the validation and status that I'm getting from holding a certain title, or the power that could come with it. And as such, focusing on all of those details to keep me where I was, I gave up hundreds of todays for tomorrow. How do I feel about that now? I'm still reconciling it. That's what shadow work is. It's willing to completely let go and be my own leader. But then that would mean I would have to sacrifice full-time employment, a name that brings respect from a title of some sort. Do you see what I'm saying? So for those of you that are wanting to grow and wanting to find the truth of your path that no longer makes you fated to suffer, these are questions that you have to ask yourself. And again, this is deep shadow work. So if this scares some people, I understand. It was scary for me to face myself too. Then don't be here for these readings because I'm not wanting anybody to go somewhere before they're ready. Okay? This is just for those who would like to change and would like to see why there's such a conflict between the light and the dark. Okay, my angels? All right. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And for those of you that this makes sense for, if you'd like to leave a comment in terms of maybe if it brought you an epiphany, that would be awesome. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, Pisces.